For your first cross solution, what you did was you did yellow here, and so you noticed this piece could be moved over, and then an L2, and then what you did is a wide U, which is very cool, F prime, and then wide U prime again, and then just inserted this back in. Also, I did notice that during your cross you did look around, and you want to make sure that you know your cross during inspection. Make sure you're doing it really fluidly and you know exactly what moves you need to do. But for this cross, instead what I would do is I would honestly see this here, so I would do an F and then make this solved, and then do a D to move this piece over like that, L, F, and then I would do to insert this piece here, instead of rotating and inserting it, I would do a wide U, R prime, U prime. For pair number 1, I have honestly nothing to critique about this. This is the first pair. It's pretty good here. You just paired it up like this and then inserted it into the left side, which is good. For pair number 2, I have to admit it was a pretty difficult situation here. You had pretty much all of your corner and edges in the slot except for this right here. So you ended up doing this pair here in a very nice way, but I would not honestly go for this pair here. What I would do is go for this pair right here. From this position, what I could just do is rotate over here and then do the pair. And then you're probably wondering also, what would you do in this scenario with diagonal slots? Well, I would do F. I don't know if you know this already, like the F, RU, F prime by Jaden McNeil. So I would do this and then do this pair, insert into the back, and then do this pair. For pair number 2, you did look around quite a bit and you did a lot of U's and U2s and U primes and all that, so I would not recommend doing that. You rotated quite a bit here. I think this is what slowed down a lot of your time here, and I think when you're doing your first pair already, have in mind your next pair that you want to do. In this case, I would have done this pair here. This is the pair you ended up doing. Anyway, for this pair, what you did was you took it out here. It's a really good solution, I'd say, more of an advanced one, and I didn't expect you to know this at all. Okay, and then for pair number 3, you went for this here. Pretty good solution. You split it up like that, but I would actually not do that. I would actually eliminate the back slot first, because you can do this in a 2-gen solution. So this pair, the green and red pair here, what you can just do is insert it into the back, pairing it up like that, and then inserting it, and then you eliminated that slot, and then you can just insert this in while also preserving your whole entire edge orientation. But anyway, your solution for your last 2 pairs are pretty good, and you did this here, this pair, and then immediately went into this pair. And I think eliminating stuff like the back slot, because if you had a worst case in that scenario, then I think you'd have to rotate and that wouldn't be as good. So I think eliminating the back slots first is good, because I know you did solve your pair into the front, your first 2 pairs into the front. In that case, it was kind of lucky having it in the back for your last pair, but I guess just be mindful about that a little bit more, solving your pairs in the back. Your alg for this case was pretty good already. I wouldn't critique anything here. Your finger tricks are honestly really good for PLLs and OLLs, I'd say, so your alg went like this. And then for PLL, you actually did a U and then a U prime. And then what you did was you did it from this angle, and that's wrong, because you want to make sure that this color is matching this color. The sticker here is matching this, and then this is also matching it as well. That's what I always look for. So as you can see, the reds are all together, and when you do it from this angle, it's all solved. Solve number 2, here's how your cross solution went. So you saw this piece, you put this in, a D to align these, inserted this, D2, and then inserted it, and then D2. And it seems you're not planning your whole entire cross in inspection. So for this cross solution, instead, what I would notice is this free pair here, and I would do first an F move to bring this over, an L to move it down, and then also do a B. I know B moves and crosses aren't the best, but I would just do it here in order to try and preserve this pair. And then what I would do is just a D prime, L2, and then to insert this, it's just a really easy transition to first pair. And then also something I want to point out, for your cross solution, at the end, you inserted this piece like that, the red piece, but what you could just do instead to end your cross off is just do an F to solve this, L, F, and then it solves it, and you're simultaneously putting 2 pieces in. For your first pair, what you saw was this right here, and you did a nice rotational solution. Just do inverse sexy and then inserted it into the back. Instead, when you finish your cross solution, I would actually see this pair here, and I would rotate right over here, and so I can easily insert it into the back like this, And what I noticed you do is in between pairs, you just do these random U and U prime moves. I would recommend looking for the pairs while you're solving your last pair. And instead of just doing like these random moves, just make sure you have concise decision about what pair you're trying to do next. So for example, you did this pair here and you took it out like that. And so it's a split pair. But instead, I would actually see this pair right here. It's an easy solution. And I would just do R, U prime, R prime, and then F sexy, F prime. Like that. Insert it. And then it's easy to transition into this pair. And then that pair. But then anyway, for your second pair, you did it pretty nicely here, this orange and blue pair, and you went like this. And then you inserted it into the back. For your third pair, this is what you did. You saw these pieces here, and what you did was just hide the edge here, and then rotate, and then insert it. So I would not rotate when inserting it, especially here, so I would just use F moves. So from here, I would do F, U, F prime. But anyway, for your third pair choice, I would have gone for this, and like I showed before, you could just do this. And then for your fourth pair, you actually ended up rotating over here and your pair was on the left. You did a really cool solution here, but I don't think you're too familiar with it. But I would just recommend doing the F moves to insert this pair, and then you're in a nice transition to do the pair that I literally just showed. But what you did for this pair was you took it out like this, F, R, U2, R prime, F prime, and it gave you actually a cross OLL. And for OLL, you got this COLL. This isn't the exact case here because I was having trouble reconstructing it. I'm surprised you actually knew the COLL. I wouldn't expect somebody your speed to know COLLs. This COLL simply is just R prime into a Y prime. And then for PLO, you did have this U prime from this angle, and you did the S move case by going like this. If you're finger tricking it, I would recommend going like this, and then both at the same time instead of doing like the awkward S move. And then on your way up, you do this in the back, and then like that. But also what you could do from that angle instead is just do a U prime and then do the nice U prime from the back like this. R prime, U, R prime, U prime, R3, U, R prime, U, R, U, R2. For solve number 3, you did red cross here, and what you saw, I'm sorry, it's sort of hard to see the colors on here, but this is orange, this is red. But what you saw was this piece and this piece. Once you inserted this in, this piece would be also adjacent, and you can just do a D, and then it'll all be solved. But you did a U prime here, which is fine also, and then R2. And then a D prime. Anyway, for this cross solution, what you could have done was actually build an X cross here because there is a free pair in the red, so I'll show you that in just a minute, but it's right here. So what you can do is while you're bringing this piece in, instead of just putting this in and splitting up the pair here, just do a U, and then it builds this block here, F prime. You can also build a double X cross here by inserting the edge back in here since you already have this corner solved, and I know the edge is right here already, so I know this is probably not as efficient as it would be, but what you could do is just bring this in by doing an L prime, R prime, U2, R, like that, and then doing a D prime, F2, and then the edge for the last cross piece is right here, and then you insert it into the back. And then here's your double X cross. For your first pair, you did a very interesting solution here. You had this corner over here, and you did a rotation and did a U2. Honestly, I would have gone for this pair right here, as it was over here already, but you did a U2 and paired it up like this, and then you did this cool insert, and you did an S, L2, and then S like that. But what I would have done in this case is just gone the simple insert here, L prime, U, L2, U prime, L prime. And then one thing, I would not recommend doing the S moves for the first pair you did, because it's a little bit risky and you have to realign and regroup the whole entire cube. So I think doing the less riskier option that I said before will definitely help you. But anyway, for your second pair, you did this pair. Honestly, I would do the exact same thing here too. Just do a sledgehammer, really nice, insert it into the back. And then once again, you did a good solution for your third pair, but I would just work on transitioning between pairs, like I said before, working on getting better and actually like looking ahead and finding pairs when you're actually working on another pair. So you did this pair doing keyhole, so you did a D, U2, and then inserted it in. Yeah, and then transitioning into your last pair, you did do U and U primes and looked around a bit for this pair, and it's just a simple 2-gen solution that you can do in the back. You did the solution just fine there, but you need to work on your recognition a little bit more. I would work on slow solving. I feel like everybody says that, but it is really a crucial technique that a lot of cubers use in order to work on look ahead, and I think that's what will help you get really more consistent sub 15s and even sub 12 in the future, I could see. But here, you did it perfectly. Just be sure to recognize it a lot quicker, and you inserted it just fine. And then for this OLO here, you got this P-shaped case. You did a U2, then a U2 back. It's good you did it from this angle, because if you did it from here, it's not as finger trick friendly. From here, I think it's a lot better. It's good you put your thumb here. Your finger tricks are really good for OLL and PLL. That's a really strong suit you have for your solves, so you did it pretty nicely here. And then a nice U-perm. You need to recognize it a little bit better also. I think your finger tricks were a little bit off because you rotated up and doing a lot of twisting, but you don't really need to do that for this S-move case, so I normally do it from this angle as well. Here's my finger tricks for it. So R2, U-prime, and then like this, you use your pointer finger and ring finger at the same time to push down like that. R2, and when it's at the bottom here, it's in perfect position. Just do that, U-prime, R2. And then fast, it looks like this. Overall, thank you, Twisty, for submitting your solves. It's actually really great that you know a lot of these advanced F2L cases, and you know a lot of these OLLs and PLLs. I'm not exactly sure if you know all of the OLLs or PLLs, but I'm glad that you know some of the COLLs already. I think your last layer is your strong suit there. I think your F2L and cross you need to work on. Try working on more efficient crosses and learning how to preserve some pieces, and also simultaneously putting them in at the same time. I'm not sure if you're color neutral or not, but I think you have some good habits along the way. But I think cross and F2L are really important in a solve, and OLL and PLL are important, but they're not as important earlier on. But if you can get F2L and cross down, I can definitely see you becoming sub 12 in the future. But let's just go over a walkthrough solve real quick for cross and F2L, but otherwise your last layer is pretty similar to mine. So here we have a random hand scramble. So let's do white, for example, because I normally do white. This piece can move in, it's opposite, so you just do it. It's a D2 away from being solved, so I'll do a D2 and it's solved. I know this piece when I do a U prime after I insert this piece in, and when I do an F, this piece is going to be solved over here. So R prime, U prime, and then F prime. Like manipulating pieces like this, so you put a piece over another piece, and then you can put it in for the cross. And manipulating X crosses as well, if you can do that. Preserving pairs, because I know you did break up 2 pairs, I believe, when you were solving. And then also solving pairs into the back, like we see this pair here, like this. I know hard to put it into the back, but what you can do, this special insert, if you're looking into more advanced F2L cases, you can do like this. And insert it into the back. And then yeah, I would go for this pair here, rotate, and I would go for this pair. And then here I can preserve the edge orientation and then do a sledgehammer. So R, U prime, R prime, and then sledgehammer. Wow, that gave me a OLL skip, and then Z prime. Little things like that, I think. Working on your F2L recognition, doing slow solves, I think it'll help. Maybe with the metronome or so. You have efficient ways to solve your F2L, but if you need help with look ahead or how to do that, be sure to just let me know. And also, you can watch other tutorials on YouTube, because this critique will only get you so far. These are only 3 solves out of a sample. That is all I had for this critique. Thank you so much, and I really did appreciate critiquing your solves. If you guys would like to get your solves critiqued, be sure to check the link in the description down below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's try to hit 200 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.